Do you like mysteries? To wander through the enigmatic mist of the inexplicable? Great. I'm Merc, and here you'll find what you're looking for. Welcome to my domains. The truth dissolves into the mist.
London, 2010. A high-end apartment in the Pimlico district. Doors locked, windows shut, no sign of struggle. No break-in, just silence and an odor that neighbors ignored for days. What would you do if you knew that just a few meters away from you, inside a sports bag, in the bathroom shower stall, lay the naked body of one of the most valuable men in British intelligence? On August 23, 2010, London police broke into that apartment. Inside the red North Face bag, they found Gareth Williams, a GCHQ codebreaker on secondment to MI6. He had been dead for over a week, the body already in an advanced state of decomposition. The first image that sticks in the mind is the bag. Closed, a sturdy padlock securing both zippers from the outside. When police managed to open the bag, they found the padlock key inside, next to Gareth's naked body. Think about that. The key was on the inside. How does someone lock a padlock from the outside and place the key inside a closed bag, alone? Gareth Williams was not an ordinary field agent. He was a mathematician, a cryptography genius. He worked at GCHQ, Britain's signals intelligence agency, the equivalent of the American NSA, at 31 years old. He was loaned to MI6, the United Kingdom's Foreign Secret Service. His specialty was breaking enemy codes, including communications from terrorist networks and foreign powers. He had just returned from a stint in New York, where he worked on an American intelligence task force. Some say he was investigating money routes for Afghan drug trafficking. Others claim his knowledge of Russian communication systems made him a target. One thing is certain. People like this do not die inside sports bags by accident. Let's break down the crime scene. The apartment on Alderney Street in Pimlico was an MI6 safe flat, reinforced door. Active alarm system. No signs of forced entry. The main door lock worked perfectly. The windows were locked from the inside. The alarm never went off. Bathroom, however, hid something disturbing. Beyond the bag with the body, there was a mobile phone and a separate SIM card on the marble counter. That phone was later analyzed. Forensics discovered it had been restored to factory settings just hours before Gareth's estimated time of death. Why would someone wipe a phone shortly before dying? And if Gareth did not do it himself, who was with him in that apartment? The autopsy revealed more questions than answers. No signs of a fight. No broken bones. No gunshot or stab wounds. The preliminary report indicated possible asphyxiation, but the lungs were clean. No common poison in the blood. The cause of death was listed as undetermined for months. The body was naked, completely undressed. Gareth's clothes were found folded next to the bag, not tossed, not crumpled, folded, as if someone had carefully removed his clothing and placed it there. That is the behavior of someone in control of the situation, not a random victim. And here comes the most bizarre element. The bag. Approximate dimensions, 80 by 50 centimeters. Gareth's body was 1.70 meters tall. He was curled in the fetal position, naked, inside that cramped space. The padlock was not a combination lock. It was a standard keyed padlock, and the key was inside the bag with him. Escape artists and magic specialists were brought in to try to reproduce the feat. No one managed to lock themselves inside a bag with a padlock on the outside without external help. The movement required to pull the zipper from the inside, while naked and inside a bag, is already impossible. Locking the padlock from the outside then borders on the absurd. Scotland Yard took days to start a serious investigation. But something more serious happened. MI6 only reported Gareth's disappearance a week after he failed to show up for work. He was supposed to chair an important meeting on August 15, 2010. He did not show up. No one called. No one went to the apartment. When questioned, MI6 superiors said they thought he was just sick or on an unscheduled training course. Do you believe that? A high-level codebreaker with access to state secrets disappears, and the most famous spy agency in the world does not worry for an entire week. The apartment was sealed off, but something strange happened. Authorities removed the apartment door and replaced it with a new one. The claim was that the door needed to be taken for analysis. However, there is no public record that this door was ever examined by independent forensics. The original door simply vanished. Gareth's phone, as mentioned, was factory reset. Investigators tried to recover the data, but the wipe was complete. Messages, calls, contacts, everything erased. The last known activity on the phone was between August 14th and 15th, 2010. Cell tower triangulation showed the device remained in the apartment. There was no movement. Now, think with me. If you were a trained professional killer, capable of eliminating a spy and making the key disappear inside the bag, you would also be careful enough to wipe the victim's phone. But why leave the phone in the bathroom? Why not take the device with you? The answer might be time. Perhaps the killer was in a hurry. Or perhaps the message was precisely this: we can reach you inside your own safe house. In 2012, coroner Dr. Fiona Wilcox delivered her verdict. She said Gareth Williams' death was likely criminal and that he was probably murdered. But she went further. She stated that the chance of him locking himself inside the bag alone was very remote, and that the person or persons responsible had technical knowledge to commit the crime without leaving traces. However, in 2024, Scotland Yard reviewed the case and concluded exactly the opposite. After re-examining the evidence, the police declared that Gareth Williams was probably alone when he died. The new conclusion points to an accidental or autoerotic death followed by suffocation. A bizarre attempt at self-bondage or fetish play that went horribly wrong. Does this explanation solve the padlock problem? No. Not even Scotland Yard could explain how a naked man inside a bag could lock a padlock from the outside. The official theory is that he might have used a tool or a string to pull the zipper from inside and then somehow managed to fit the padlock before losing consciousness. No practical demonstration has ever proven this possible. Gareth's family rejected the 2024 conclusion. His parents, Ian and Ellen Williams, have fought for over a decade for a new independent investigation. They point out glaring flaws: the removal of the door, MI6's delay, the phone wipe, the lack of security camera footage on nearby streets that night. Too many coincidences for an accident. And there is more. Gareth was known to have a second apartment, a secret flat, not registered in his name, paid for in cash. When investigators tried to access that location, it had already been cleaned out. Documents, computers, notes, gone. Someone knew exactly what to look for and exactly when to look. The Gareth Williams case raises a central question about British intelligence in the early 21st century. MI6 and GCHQ were, and still are, deeply involved in cyber warfare and counterintelligence operations. In 2010, Russia had already restarted its program of sleeper agents in the West, and Gareth, specifically, worked on codes that protected NATO communications. If a foreign service wants to eliminate a codebreaker, how to do it without declaring war? A silent death at home, made to look like an accident or a fetish gone wrong. The embarrassment of an autoerotic cause serves to bury the truth along with the body. No one wants to talk about it. The British press called the case "Spy in a Bag," a cruel nickname that reduces a man to a joke. But there is no joke here. Gareth Williams was one of the greatest cryptography experts of his generation. His colleagues describe him as reserved, brilliant, obsessed with mathematical puzzles. He enjoyed climbing and extreme sports. There is no reliable record that he engaged in autoerotic asphyxiation or extreme bondage. That narrative only emerged after his death, without evidence. The final autopsy report, released in full in 2015, found low levels of an alkaloid called atropine in Gareth's body. Atropine is used in poisons and also in eye drops. The amount was not lethal, but its presence was never explained. It could have been contamination, or it could have been a test, or a failed poisoning attempt. In 2019, a retired MI6 agent, speaking anonymously, said that Gareth had discovered something about illegal financial transfers from a close ally of the United Kingdom. He allegedly confronted his superior. 2 weeks later, he was dead. This story has never been confirmed, but it circulates in European intelligence corridors to this day. You, the viewer, need to decide. 2 official versions. One coroner says murder. The police say accident. MI6 replaced the apartment door. The key was inside the bag. The phone was wiped. The naked body. The week without communication. If this were a spy film, you would call the script over the top. But it is not a film. It is the case of Gareth Williams. Still open, still unanswered. In August 2024, Gareth's parents asked the UK Supreme Court to reopen the investigation. The request was denied. Scotland Yard claims there is no new evidence. But everyone knows the old evidence was never fully explained. The key remains inside the bag, metaphorically, and we, on the outside, can only watch what happened on that August night in 2010 in Pimlico. Gareth took his secret to the grave, or someone made sure he did. The padlock is still in some evidence depot. The original door has vanished. The phone was wiped. The only thing left is the question that neither of the 2 official conclusions can answer. How does someone lock a padlock from the outside of a bag, place the key inside, and die there naked? Alone, in a locked apartment, without leaving another person's fingerprints. If you find the answer, Scotland Yard would like to know. Until then, the spy in a bag remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 21st century, and the key, like Gareth, stays on the inside.
Did you like this mystery? And what is your theory? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed it, then like and share. I'm Merc, and I'll be waiting for you in the next mystery.